It's raining, it's pouring rain outside. In last week's video, I briefly mentioned at the end that I have made a change to the fitness challenge that I'm currently doing, or weight loss challenge, I think is a more accurate way to describe it. I have one rule in that challenge, which was one of the most important rules to achieve what I'm trying to achieve, and that was to reduce portions. I've done a challenge prior to this one where I had the same rule and it didn't go very well. The problem with that was that first of all, it wasn't very clear as to what a reduced portion actually is. It was very heavily relying on my judgment, and this is why I was doing this, because my judgment prior to that challenge was not clearly good enough to eat the correct amount of food, if that makes sense. So I was trying to fix the problem by applying the same techniques and the same logic, and that could never work. When I started this challenge, I had the same delusional thinking, if you will, that I will be able to reduce my portions just by perception, just by me deciding in my mind what is a small portion versus a big portion. And after doing it for 3 weeks, I've watched myself doing the same thing that I did in the previous challenge, which is gradually going towards increasing my portions again. So at first I was like, okay, I'm just gonna finish this challenge like this, and then maybe do another one where I'm gonna count calories, because with counting calories, you can go wrong. You have a specific number, which if you go over, that means you overate that week. It's very straightforward. There is no ifs, buts, or anything like that. So like I said, initially I was going to finish this fitness challenge, which, just a quick reminder, is 12 weeks long, and I'm only 4 weeks in, and then do the calories. But then I kind of sat with that decision for about a week, I want to say, and I kept watching myself gradually going up with my portions and not being in control of how much I ended up actually consuming every day, and not knowing, not understanding how much I eat, because I could have had a small portion, but I would load it with mayo, which wouldn't make it a very big portion. But I know that calorie-wise, mayo is very calorie dense, so I knew that I was consuming actually a lot of food and a lot of calories. So it was kind of counterproductive. It was stressing me out a little bit. It was confusing me. I wasn't sure what I was doing. I kept feeling like, why am I doing this? I'm doing this for nothing. I'm gonna do this challenge. I'm gonna do this for 12 weeks, and then I will end up with no results. And like, I would have wasted 12 weeks. So I opened my FitnessPal and I started scanning a product here and there, and I started weighing my portions here and there, and I started like test driving how long it would take me if I counted calories every meal. After a couple of days of doing that, I realized that actually this is what I want to do. I decided to replace that rule, reduce portions, because there's more rules in that challenge, of course. I have a whole video on that, going through all the rules and explaining it. I will replace that rule with counting calories now. I actually already went online, found like calories calculator, and I entered my current weight, my lifestyle, how much I train every day, and then also I entered how much weight ideally I would like to lose every week. And that calculator gave me the amount of calories that I need to consume every day. I guess in this video I just wanted to sort of show a couple of meals and just how I approach counting the calories. By no means this is like a tutorial or educational videos on how to do this, but I think I want to share my process and my journey. In the beginning it can be a little bit overwhelming, especially if you've never done it before. It can take a long time, it can take some time to figure out. For example, even in my case, I'm still struggling with meal prepping, because there is a certain amount of calories that you can have per meal, and then when you are meal prepping, you need to figure out how much you need to cook so that you have the right amount of meals and that every meal has the right amount of calories. And it's kind of, you're trying to work backwards. So this is something that I still struggle with. Hopefully we will be working towards figuring that part out. I'm not gonna go into much detail. I'm not gonna show all the meals during the week. Maybe we can have another video where I can do that, but I'm just gonna show the basics, how I personally will approach it now that I'm just starting out. I gave myself a month of February to gradually get to a place where I'm tracking everything. Before, when I lived in Ireland, I had a scale which was just this, a little bit larger than this, but it didn't have this part. It was just all glass, and it had this little monitor here. I would put the plate on and it would cover the screen. So it actually was a little bit frustrating and kind of stupid, because, you know, a lot of the times when I cook like my breakfast, for example, I want to put my plate on top of the scale, and as I'm putting ingredients, I want to weigh them. This time when I was buying the new scale, I made sure that I bought one like this, with this area where you put the plates and the bowls and stuff like that on top of, separately from all the buttons and your screen here, which shows the number of grams. I'm recording this at the very end of the week, or rather beginning of next week, so I shot everything that was going into this video already, but I realized that I think I have too much like b-roll for what I'm actually doing, not enough explanation. I'm just jumping in here to sort of explain a little bit what I'm doing. I started my day normally with the gym, and I don't like to drink my coffee before the gym, so I just have water and lemon just to get my metabolism going and to wake up my body a little bit. But also I have sometimes, when I'm super tired, I have an energy drink which is Celsius. It has only 4 calories per entire can. Then I go to the gym, I come back from the gym, and I don't have breakfast right away because I'm doing intermittent fasting, and I start at 12, so I'm at home at around 9:30. So I make a coffee, and I know that it's kind of breaking intermittent fasting rules because you're not supposed to have sugar or milk. I think black coffee is fine, but I can't drink coffee black. I need sugar and milk in it, so I'm breaking the intermittent fasting rule for that one. But apart from that, you know, everything else I wait until 12. But I do have my coffee. I do log it into my MyFitnessPal as well, because there is a number of calories in that. It's actually, I think, around 50 calories. And the good thing about my MyFitnessPal is I had to do it once, and then I saved it as a meal in my MyFitnessPal, so that every day after that, when I had my coffee, all I have to do is go into my MyFitnessPal, go into my saved meals, and then just click on my morning coffee, and then, you know, all the numbers are in there. I don't have to do it all over again every single day. That is the first thing that goes into my MyFitnessPal. Obviously I don't track water. Well, Celsius, if I have Celsius before the gym, I also obviously put it in. Even though it's only 4 calories, I still like to keep track of everything. After I have my coffee, that I log in as like my breakfast normally. Then comes 12 o'clock, and this is when I do my breakfast. Well, I guess now it's lunch. Okay, it's a couple of days later. We're in my kitchen. I have a microphone because laundry. It's 11:45 and I am about to cook my breakfast, lunch, brunch. Since I'm doing intermittent fasting, my first meal every day is at 12 o'clock. So I guess you could say lunch. With meals that I cook on the spot, that I'm about to eat right after I'm done cooking it, I think I've nailed it down pretty well. Like, I think I know what I'm doing. Whenever I am counting calories, I always keep my scale on the counter, so that at any given moment, if I'm reaching for a snack, if I want to grab an apple, I have it here, so I don't have to look for it. It just makes it easier for me when it's just within arm's reach. So let's see, what are we going to make today? I think I'm in the mood for like an omelet situation. Every day I do more or less the same meal, just different combination of the same ingredients, if that makes sense. The good thing about my MyFitnessPal is, that's the app I'm using to count my calories, is that it actually has a history. it saves everything that you've searched previously. What MyFitnessPal allows you to do is create recipes, and it also allows you to create meals. Now, do I understand the difference? Not really. I think meals is more like when you have a couple of recipes combined together. So for example, you have a recipe for egg fried rice, and then you have a recipe for breaded chicken, and you want to create a meal where you eat those two together, and then some vegetable or salad or whatever. And then the recipe is a recipe. Like I said, like if you have a recipe for breaded chicken or like for egg fried rice, that's when you would create a recipe where you put exactly how many grams of everything, all the ingredients you put in your recipe, and then you divide it by number of portions. We are not talking about recipes or meals right now. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna open the app and just log in the meal that I'm cooking right now. As you can see, I have my scale over here. I'll turn it on. I will be mixing a couple of ingredients in a bowl. So I'm placing the bowl on the scale, and as soon as I put the bowl on top, now it's 379. I don't want this. I don't want to have to calculate every single thing that I put in this bowl. I don't want to deduct 379 to know exactly how much I have put of each ingredient. So there's this like really handy button here which does it for you. So this feature can be used in a number of ways. It can be used for this. So I can place anything on top, and if I want to just make it disappear, I can do it. I think it's called, it says tear, I think it's called tear. It also can work really well if you have a big bag of something, let's say flour or rice, and instead of putting it in a separate container to see how much you're taking, you can just put the bag of whatever you are using on the scale, go to 0. As you take product out of the bag, the scale will show you minus, and it will show you exactly the number of grams of what you took out. So that way, you know, it kind of like makes your life a little bit easier. I have the bowl here, I have the scale at 0. What I want to do is I want to measure the egg. Now, if you don't want to be super precise, you can just find an egg in the application. So when I click on add food, I, let's say, go into a search bar, even though I have egg in here in the history. Let's say I put in egg. You have here this option with the green tick. I think that's the best option to use because it's like approved by the app. And so now here you can actually select how you want to measure, and here you have this drop down. So if you don't want to be super precise and you know that you have like a medium egg, you can just go ahead and select like 1 large or 1 medium or 1 extra large. It's all in here. Or if you want to be a little bit more precise, like I will do now, you can go into grams. So I will select the gram, and now you see here it says 1 gram. Here then I'm gonna update this number. I'm going to put the number of grams that I have on the scale. By the way, if you have the bowl on top of the scale already and then you turn it on, you don't even have to reset it to 0. It just doesn't count. You see, like if I remove it, now it's gonna show minus 379. That's my 1 egg, and that's my 2 eggs. Before I put anything else, I check here. It says 137 grams, and I'm putting here 137, and here it updates in real time. You see, now that I've updated the number to 137, this number has updated to 196 calories. It also shows you the breakdown of your protein, fat, and your carbs, your macronutrients. And now egg is logged in. So under the breakfast, you can see how many calories you have. Also here at the top, everything gets updated too. And obviously this number is now lower because we've added 1 product. That's it. I'll just continue doing it for all the foods that I'll add. Now, normally you don't really have to add salt and pepper. It doesn't really add any calories, especially salt, but I do, just to have it there. I was talking and I didn't hit record. Anyway, so I was adding scallions, and I was saying that every time I add an ingredient, I see how much it is. I put it immediately into MyFitnessPal, and then what I do is I just hit that button again to reset to 0, because when I'm adding the new ingredient, I don't want to do any math. We already established that we're not doing any extra work. The scale is gonna do the work for us. So I reset it to 0 again, and then when I added scallions, which I did but the camera wasn't rolling, now the scale shows me exactly how much just scallion I've added to the bowl, and it's 13 grams. So just like with an egg, I'm gonna grab my Fitnesspal and immediately, I'm not waiting, I'm not relying on my memory, which is also very important. Yeah, here's scallion, and then I'm adding 13 grams, and that is 4 calories. And I'm going to add cheese. I'm just not going to add it right now. I am going to add this red paprika pepper. I'll just add half. That's 42 grams, so it's 42. 11 calories. Now, because I have a lot of veggies here and just 2 eggs, I will add some milk. Now, you might ask, this is grams, right? So for anything liquid, I'm just gonna go in with these spoons. So if you have packaging with a barcode, if I don't have it in my history, I can click here on scan barcode. It's gonna open the camera, and now I can point it at the barcode and it will find the product, hopefully. And then here I can put 1 milliliter. Now I'm gonna put 80 because that's how much I put. This is what we have so far: egg, scallion, red bell pepper, and almond milk. So I'm putting some salt. It's not gonna show up here just because it's not heavy enough, so I'll just add 1 gram for each. Now I'm adding pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder, and everything will be 1 gram. It's less than 1 gram, but you will see how insignificant it is in terms of calories. And now once I'm done adding all of the spices, I will open the app again, scan the salt. It will be 1 gram. You see 0 calories. So you don't really have to do that. It's just, I do it just to have it on file. Black ground. You see I have it in my history, so it will show up. Also 1 gram, this is 3 calories. Garlic powder, it will show up, yeah. Here it is, also 1 gram, also 3 calories. Onion powder will also show up because I've done it before. And also gonna be 1 gram, 3 calories. What I do is, because obviously I'm gonna fry it on oil, I will be using coconut oil. If the frying pan is still cold, I put it on the scale. Same process, I turn it on, I reset it to 0. Then I take the coconut oil that I will be using, adding it into the frying pan. That's normally how much I use, and it's 9 grams. I'm gonna scan real quick. 9 grams. And 9 grams of coconut oil is 79 calories. So you see it's pretty significant because it adds almost 100 calories to your meal. Now, while it's cooking, I'm gonna add more things because omelette is not the only thing that I'm going to have for this meal. So I'm taking the plate, and just like I did with the bowl previously, I'm just putting it on top of the scale. Now, there are 2 things that I want to add. There's a half avocado that I want to add, and there is also some cheese that I want to add. I want to grate this cheese though. So I can actually do it 2 ways. I can either grate it directly on the plate and then see how much I have once I'm done, or I can cut a piece which I will be using and I can see how much it is, and then I can just grate it directly on top of omelet, for example, if I don't want to do it first in the plate. So I think that's what I'm gonna do now. Let's say this is the piece that I want to use to grate. So this is 17 grams. And it's 93 calories. That's a little. And it says here that my breakfast total is 517 calories. So this is how I approach my lunches. And then during the day I have, and I don't think I filmed that, but during the day I might have a couple of snacks. And they are normally, you know, yogurt with like some fruit, like banana, kiwi, and like maybe some granola, you know. And I do the same thing as I do with lunches and omelets. Like I put a bowl on the scale, and as I'm putting all the ingredients, I weigh them and then I put them into MyFitnessPal. And if it's like a granola bar or something like that, I just again scan the barcode. And normally a bar is just a bar, you don't need to weigh it, nothing. Normally in MyFitnessPal, whoever created this product already entered the calories for one bar. Or worst case, if it's still in grams for some reason, you can just look at the packaging at the back of it. It normally tells you the calories per 100 grams as a default, but also next to it, if it's a bar, it will say how many grams are in the bar and like what the calories per bar is, so you can just enter it manually. And then the last meal of the day is my dinner. I finish eating at 8, but normally I have my dinners around 6:30, and sometimes I have a snack after it, but on most days I don't. Normally it's pre-cooked meal, unless it's a salad, which I assemble on the spot. I put everything on a scale and then I see how much of like lettuce I put and how much cucumber I put and stuff like that. But a lot of the times it's a pre-cooked meal, so it's something that I did during the meal prep, and so I've already hopefully during the meal prep counted the calories. So I measured everything and I put it as a recipe in MyFitnessPal. So literally all I have to do is I'm warming that food up. I have to open MyFitnessPal, go into my saved recipes, and then add those recipes to my dinner. If there's multiple recipes, let's say if I'm assembling like a meal from 3 different meal preps, I just need to correctly figure out the portion. So normally if I meal prep, I'll try to figure out how many portions that meal has in it. And then I just need to make sure that I don't go overboard when I'm putting it from the big container into a plate, if that makes sense. That's how I go about tracking my calories now. It's not perfect, but I'm perfecting it every week. It can be quite overwhelming, especially if you start from 0 and you don't know what you're doing. I remember it being the case when I started for the first time, and I remember I was getting really frustrated because it was adding on a lot of additional time to, like I said, my meal preps and my cooking. That's why I gave myself a month to just not be in a rush, to not overwhelm myself, to like take my time and figure it out. In this video, because I was cooking and then I also was tracking calories, and then on top of that having to like film, it was a little bit too much, I think. So that's why I didn't go into too much detail. Like for example, when I did my meal prep, I only filmed certain things because I didn't want to overwhelm myself. And already because this week I'm going through it, I'm not doing very well mentally, physically. I decided not to stress myself too much about filming every single thing. I don't think I went into like enough maybe detail in this video, but maybe we could do something like that for another video once I'm feeling a little bit better. We can go into a little bit more detail and I can film a little bit better, like the whole process, and maybe we can do more recipes and like creating recipes from scratch. I'm gonna end this video here. I hope that you enjoyed. Maybe it was informative, maybe helpful in any way. Subscribe to my channel if you're not yet subscribed. Like this video if you like this video. Leave a comment if you have any suggestions or any tips about MyFitnessPal that I could use to make it a little bit easier to track everything. And I hope I see you next week for another video. That's it, bye.